Welcome to News You Missed, where world leaders panic, markets wobble, and AI keeps asking for a raise.
Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, the 22nd of October, 2025. We were just talking off camera. We have a big packed out news today. There is all sorts going on out there. We've got updates on robberies. We've got updates on Israel. We've got all sorts going on. So stay tuned and let's see where the news takes us today. Drew, what have you got for us first?
First up, the Dutch Data Protection Authority has warned voters not to ask AI chatbots how to vote in next week's election. Turns out the bots were a little biased, like your Uncle Sam at Christmas dinner. Regulators found AI models quietly nudging users towards specific parties. Expect new rules to muzzle algorithms before they start running for office. Democracy now comes with patch notes.
Britain has deployed a senior commander and a small team of troops to Israel to help monitor the fragile Gaza ceasefire. At the request of the United States, the UK officers will work alongside an international team in a civilian military coordination centre, but will not enter Gaza. Defence Secretary John Healey said Britain will play an anchor role, contributing specialist experience and planning skills to support the peace process, as the ceasefire remains under pressure and violence continues sporadically in the region.
Next up, US Vice President J.D. Vance landed in Israel saying, "We're doing very well on Gaza ceasefire progress," which in diplomatic language means we're still arguing over commas. Another week, another round of cautious optimism. Diplomacy's just poker, but with microphones.
US President Trump has laid out key demands for China ahead of new trade talks with President Xi Jinping. Speaking alongside Australia's Prime Minister, Trump confirmed plans to visit Beijing in 2026 and hopes to strike what he calls a fair trade deal. His main concerns include China's rare earth export limits, fentanyl exports, stalled soybean purchases, and Taiwan. Trump also threatened new tariffs on Chinese goods and said both nations could reach an agreement after meetings at the upcoming APEC summit in South Korea.
Moving on, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will meet President Trump in Washington next month. Oil, defence and optics all on the menu. Expect oil prices to rise the second their hands touch. It's less summit, more energy market earthquake.
President Trump has begun demolishing part of the White House's East Wing to build what he calls a new, big, beautiful ballroom. The $250 million project, funded privately by major US companies and Trump himself, will create space for 650 guests, 3 times larger than the current East Room. Critics, including California Governor Gavin Newsom, say Trump is ripping apart the White House, while supporters argue it's a long overdue modernisation. The last major reconstruction took place under President Truman in 1951. Who doesn't want a bigger ballroom to have bigger shindigs in? It sounds like a great idea in my eyes.
Next up, House Speaker Mike Johnson says a floor vote is coming to release the Epstein files. If it hits 218 votes, he says it comes to the floor. Transparency meets tabloid fever.
A riot broke out in Dublin after reports that a 10-year-old girl was raped near a hotel housing asylum seekers. The suspect, reportedly a rejected asylum seeker from Africa, has been detained for questioning. Hundreds gathered in protest, with some clashing with police and setting a van on fire. Authorities used water cannons to restore order. Ireland's Prime Minister called the case a tragic failure to protect a child, while government officials urged the public to remain calm as the investigation continues.
And for the first time ever, mosquitoes have been spotted in Iceland. Locals call it the end of days. Scientists call it climate change. Expect citronella stocks to rise faster than sea levels. Iceland survived volcanoes, Vikings and bankers, but not bugs.
Now, I've got a strange story for everyone, and I never thought this would take this sort of angle. A major heist at the Louvre has sparked backlash over the museum's hiring policies after the theft of France's crown jewels in broad daylight. Critics accuse management of prioritising diversity over competence, focusing attention on the museum's first female head of security, Dominique Buffin. Politician Marion Maréchal called the incident a national embarrassment, urging resignations. A state audit had already warned of outdated security systems. Police are investigating, with early reports suggesting the theft may have been carried out by organised crime. Drew, are we going to start seeing now a whole host of things going wrong in companies, and everyone's going to blame the DEI hires? I mean, why are we not hiring based on competence in general? Is the fact that you have these minority quotas astounds me. Absolutely astounds me.
It was probably an inside job anyway.
Probably.
Moving on, Prince Andrew has officially dropped his Duke of York title. Meanwhile, Reform UK softened its immigration stance, and property taxes loom like rain over London. Royal shake-ups meet economic wake-ups. Even the monarchy's downsizing now.
And a company we haven't heard about for a little while, Drew. And it's United Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 was struck by a mysterious object mid-flight, possibly space debris. The flight, carrying 140 passengers from Denver to Los Angeles, was forced to divert to Salt Lake City after the windshield was damaged. Images on social media show broken glass and blood on the pilot's arm. Authorities are investigating, with the National Transportation Safety Board and United Airlines examining whether the collision involved a piece of space debris or a weather balloon.
Or maybe a part of the aeroplane just kind of came off and hit back.
Who knows, Drew? But let's wait and find out, because more than likely it's going to be a weather balloon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Japan has elected its first female prime minister, a veteran conservative often called the country's Iron Lady. Takeshi is expected to pursue a more assertive security policy, including closer military ties with the US, higher defence spending, and support for revising Japan's pacifist constitution. Domestically, she backs traditional social policies and stricter immigration controls. Her leadership comes amid rising tensions with China, a decline in birth rate, and public frustration over political scandals, marking a challenging start for her administration. And my last news story, a Slovak court has sentenced 72-year-old pro-Ukraine activist Juraj Cintula to 21 years in prison for the attempted murder of Prime Minister Robert Fico. Cintula admitted to shooting Fico at close range during a public event last year, saying he opposed the government's policies towards Russia and Ukraine. The court ruled the attack was an act of terrorism. Fico, who survived 4 gunshot wounds, later blamed opposition figures and the media for fueling hatred that led to the attack. Now, Drew, the reason why I'm bringing this story up more than anything, is it me, or is the far left the violent ones? They're the ones shooting everybody. They're the ones killing everybody. I mean, this is looking more and more like, if you're a lefty, you're mentally deranged. And this is hard facts we're looking at here. How many times did President Trump get shot at? How many times did politicians in Europe get shot at by far lefties? Charlie Kirk, killed by a far lefty. This is like showing more and more that this is a mental derangement syndrome. I don't know, you tell me, but the evidence is quite clear. I don't know about you, Drew.
It is very clear. And that was your morning rant. And moving on from daily news, where the world's spinning and we're dizzy but smiling. Let's see what the markets did while we were distracted. Paul, what's your first one?
Wow, Volkswagen is facing a potential financial crisis, with reports that the company could be 11 billion euros short next year, threatening planned investments and operations. Profits have fallen, business in China is weak, and competition from local EV makers, along with US tariffs, has added pressure. The automaker is cutting costs across marketing, sales, and some investments, and may sell assets to raise funds. Leadership changes aim to stabilise the company, with CEO Oliver Bloom focusing on a major restructuring through 2030.
Next up, the IMF bumped global growth for 2025 to 3.2% thanks to easing tariffs and the global AI boom. Not booming, not busting, just existing. If the world economy were a student, I'd get a C+, and A tries hard.
A charity that once ran more than 100 bank accounts has been slammed for financial mismanagement. The trustees at Mountain of Fire and Miracles Ministries apparently thought oversight was optional, letting branches open accounts, buy property and sign contracts like it was monopoly money. The Charity Commission had to step in, freeze assets and bring in an interim manager to teach them how money works. After years of chaos, the charity is finally back on track. Proof that even miracles sometimes need a spreadsheet.
Moving on, President Trump announced new tariffs on Chinese imports starting November the 1st. Expect higher prices on gadgets and a record year for smugglers named Jeff from Shenzhen. That's not protectionism, it's retail therapy with paperwork.
Gold fell 6.3%, silver more than 8%, as traders shrugged off trade tensions easing and a stronger dollar. After trying to break $4,400 like a stubborn toddler hitting the candy jar, gold have finally admitted defeat. So if you've been dreaming of a gold-plated yacht, maybe hold off for now.
And over to crypto, the XRP soared past $2.50 after panic selling below $1.90, a textbook case of peak FUD and contrarian profit. Over 155 crypto ETF filings are now tracking 35 assets, with analysts saying we could see 200 by next year. The crypto market now has more ETFs than most people have patience. Wall Street's finally admitting it loves meme coins as long as they're wrapped in paperwork.
Coinbase is on a crypto shopping spree, acquiring the fundraising platform Echo for $375 million. This marks their 8th acquisition this year, as they aim to become the Amazon of blockchain capital. Echo, founded by crypto influencer Jordan Fish, has helped projects raise over $200 million since its launch. Now, with Coinbase's backing, they're set to expand their reach. The deal was part of a broader trend of increased mergers and acquisitions in the digital asset space, driven by a crypto-friendly US administration.
And ETF flows on October the 20th showing $40 million in BTC and $145 million in ETH sold off. Institutions took profits, retail took aspirin. Wall Street hodls until it gets bored.
And crypto fans got a rude wake up Monday morning as Amazon Web Services went down, leaving MetaMask showing zero balances and the Base network gasping for breath. Coinbase and OpenSea weren't spared either. East Coast users basically watched their portfolios do a disappearing act. On the bright side, Ethereum gas fees plummeted to near zero, so technically you could have sent a single token across the blockchain for less than the cost of a cup of tea. Moral of the story: even in crypto, sometimes the cloud throws a tantrum and your digital coins go on vacation. Now, Drew, this story is a harrowing wake-up call to the crypto space. When everyone talks about decentralization and, it's supposed to be able to survive downtime and things like that, the only thing I understand is, short of the internet going down, your crypto should still be able to stay up and running. This has just shown some very big weaknesses in apps and blockchains. So just have a little think, everybody, which cryptos you do invest in.
And next up, Perp Dex Asta topped volume charts with $10.6 billion in 24 hours, just ahead of Lighter and Hyperliquid. The decentralized casinos open and everyone's counting chips in stable coins. Imagine Vegas but the house is a smart contract.
The Bank of England is sounding the alarm after the collapse of two US companies, First Brands and Tricolour. Governor Andrew Bailey warned it could be the canary in the coal mine, or, in simpler terms, one cockroach might mean there are more hiding in the financial kitchen. The Bank of England is now running stress tests while bankers nervously check under the rug. So if your portfolio starts squeaking, don't panic yet. Just maybe keep an eye on the credit crumbs.
And the Federal Reserve is exploring payment accounts to let crypto and fintech firms access Fed rails without becoming banks. Wall Street meets Web3. Cue the regulatory rom-com. It's complicated status pending approval.
My last financial. The yen took a little tumble after Japan elected its first female prime minister. Traders are worried her bold policies might make the Bank of Japan break a sweat or break the yen. The dollar, on the other hand, is feeling strong, probably flexing in the mirror after a week of good news on Trump's trade optimism. Meanwhile, the euro and sterling are trying to keep up but are tripping over their own shoelaces. Looks like global currencies are having a real roller coaster day. Hold on to your wallets.
OpenAI unveiled its own browser, ChatGPT Atlas, blurring the lines between search engines and AI assistant. Google just spit out its coffee. Atlas holds up the world and your tabs. And Galaxy Digital reported $505 million net income for Q3, with $3.2 billion in equity and $1.9 billion in cash and stables. When crypto's booming, so is Galaxy, literally and figuratively. If Elon Musk made a hedge fund, this would be it. And that's your financial forecast, where the numbers move, the jokes land, and the coffee never cools. Next up, Hackers Corner, where malware meets mayhem. Paul, what's your first one?
Oh, well, Drew. First up, Operation Snappy Bee. A Chinese-linked hacking group weaponized antivirus software, Norton and BigCav, to slip in Snappy Bee, a new ShadowPad variant. The attackers turned security tools into Trojan horses. Expect telecom audits across Europe and some awkward vendor calls. When your antivirus catches a virus, it's officially lost its job.
Next up, 7 out of 10 cyber attacks start with phishing emails. Crime has officially gone SaaS. Subscription-based evil. More inbox trap, fewer careful clicks. Humanity's biggest vulnerability? Curiosity and caffeine.
Russia's malware makeover. Russia's cold driver hackers rebuilt their tools in 5 days, launching Neurobot, Yes Robot, and Maybe Robot. Hidden behind fake capture screens, they target NATO researchers. They're fast, they're flexible, and very annoying. These guys rebrand more often than reality TV stars.
And Cisco, Asus, and QNAP routers have been turned into secret spy nodes. Hackers hid codes inside router firmware. Wi-Fi might now report to Moscow. Millions of routers, millions of headaches. Your router's not buffering, it's gossiping. And Meta rolled out a new scam alert for WhatsApp and Messenger, but one feature quietly broke encryption. Safer? Maybe. They fixed the lock by removing the door.
And that was your Hackers Corners. Now, if you want to stay safe in crypto, you want to stay safe on your computer, head down to the description where we've got some links for you, which might just keep you that little bit safer. Now, we are heading over to our little AI segment. It's a new segment, but with everything going on out there with robots, drones, all sorts of weird AI tech, I feel like we need to cover it. Drew, what's your first one?
Well, my first story is Open Evidence. The ChatGPT for doctors hit a $6 billion valuation. It's already assisting 40% of US physicians. The future of medicine is AI and probably behind a paywall. WebMD, just rage quit.
Waymo's school bus oops. A Waymo robo-taxi overtook a stopped school bus unloading kids. The car's sensors missed the stop signal. Federal investigation is underway. Humans feel slightly less replaceable. Self-driving, self-incriminating.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, we reported the other day that those taxis were coming to London soon.
Yes, we did, Drew. I think this is something that's coming across the world. Me, I'm all for it because I hate driving. I feel like I should be sleeping or doing something a little bit more productive than driving. It just serves no pleasure for me. So I'm looking forward to trying a robo-taxi in London.
Yeah, just don't sleep while you're driving or while it's driving you, just in case. And next up, Cola's Decoder Toilet scans waste for health data. The Internet of Things just entered your bathroom. Great for diagnostics, terrible for privacy. Alexa, delete what you just saw.
And this is a wonderful story how technology can help people. AI gives sight to the blind. AI-powered smart glasses restored partial vision in blind patients using microchip implants. It converts light into electrical pulses that talk directly to the brain. Science fiction just became science function. You lose one sense, gain Bluetooth.
And sadly, Amazon plans to replace 600,000 US workers with robots. The company calls it efficiency. The workers call it early retirement. Automation's here and HR isn't. Alexa's family reunion is getting out of hand.
Do you know what, Drew? We know what's coming though, because the government's going to have to do something because mass unemployment is going to destroy entire economies. I think we're going to see a robot tax, which will be slightly more expensive than hiring a human being. They're going to have to do something because if no one's got anything to do with work, they're going to start turning their eyes to the government and the banks.
Well, the plan is obviously that they put us on a universal credit and we stay at home. So, we can see what the plan is, but let's see how it folds out. Now over to Conspiracy Corner, where rumours meets reality. The No Kings protest payouts. Online whispers claim billionaires secretly funded the No Kings protests to the tune of $294 million. The sources mostly Telegram and Rumble. Expect more reposts than receipts. And another rumour ties Governor Gavin Newsom and George Soros to activists NGOs. Expect this one to resurface every election cycle. And Telegram channels are buzzing with intel drops about deep state purges. Mostly a mashup of real headlines, speculations, and as elections approach, so will the upload speeds. Every time someone says deep state, a podcaster buys a new mic.
And that brings us to the end of the show on Wednesday, the 22nd of October, 2025. Thank you all for joining us. We found out a lot about what's going on in the world, but if you want to find out even more and find out what's going on under the surface, head over to charlieward.com. Sign up for the Insiders Club. Join us live every Wednesday and Saturday. And tonight, Drew, who do we have on the show?
We have the wonderful Derek Johnson.
Now, Derek Johnson is a wonderful man. He's done some very big digging into how things are being really done in the US. So all that's left for us to say is to take care, God bless, and we see you all soon. Bye now.
Bye-bye.